Hey, don't let the mask fool you. It is Real Women Revealed. We're having our scandal party on pre-Halloween. It's October 30th, so we decided to come with some masks because we have a lot of scandalous stories to tell you about. So we'll be looking at Shonda night, going over our scandal party. So make sure you stay tuned, okay? Real Women Revealed. Real Women Revealed. Scandal party. Hey, Olivia. Hey, President. Like, hey. Well, we know we got to give a shout out to Shonda Rhimes because Thursday night is now Shonda Rhimes night.
Female.
Right.
Take off the makeup.
Thank you.
Wig.
Right.
Right.
So we at the Real Women Reveal headquarters. We got my girls, they deep up in here, right? And we're talking about Scandal because Scandal is a hot show. Thank you, Shonda, again. So we just wanted to make sure we tapped into that, even though we have, you know, side conversations and similar things on Scandal. We just wanted to tap into it. It's a hot show. We love it. I mean, we're addicted to it. So that's why we just want to say a shout out to Shonda Rhimes on that. So we just gonna dive right into it. Who just want to see Olivia with the president? Just anybody who just really wants to see a show of hands, Olivia.
Well, they have great chemistry.
Chemistry?
They have really great
chemistry. Anybody over here? No, Ebony? No.
Chemistry.
Why not? They're happy together. More happy together than they are apart. So.
Ooh. Anybody? Okay, so we got a few people that kind of want to. You like Jay? I like him too. Wait a minute, we haven't even got to Jay yet, right? So let's go ahead and talk about that then. So Olivia dating the president, they in love or whatever. We all know that that's an adulterous situation. Right. They're committing adultery, whether how unhappy the president is or whatever. It's they're committing adultery. So what do you say to, because it's kind of set up as though he's unhappy, he's the president and things like that. So what about, how comfortable would you be as a real woman revealed in dating someone that was married and then said, well, I'm not happy, we're going through a separation, or I'm going to leave? Because I know somebody in here probably has met somebody, I'll just keep it real because that's what I do, has met someone that has been married and said that, oh, I'm not in a happy situation, or it's not working, or what have you. So even though it glamorizes their relationship in the bed. You know what I'm saying? The president, Olivia is so strong, but the bottom line is that they're committing adultery. So what part of that do you guys think about, Chanel?
Don't put me on the spot.
Oh, no.
Well, you know what? It's a very difficult situation, and believe me,
what's difficult?
It's a conversation that we had earlier about it being a slippery slope. You know, you are sometimes in constant battle with your mind and what you know what's right to do.
Okay.
And this damn flesh of ours just, you know, kind of has you wanting sometimes things that you don't. Sometimes people want things that are a challenge or quote unquote they can't have, you know, or forbidden fruit, as they say.
So is it more, do you want to pursue that person more because they're married? You know how some
people, it's a rush to some people.
Exactly.
It's the excitement of sneaking around and doing something scandalous that nobody knows but them. I mean, they walk past each other and you could feel it through the television. I mean, it's really thick.
Right.
But it's a very twisted situation that's really going on.
Has anyone that would care to share been in a situation where they happened to be dating someone who was married, or they were the person that were married, and they got into a relationship? Thank you, Cece, for just come on out. Okay. Speak clearly into the
In 2010,
Okay.
I had my father-in-law used to come every year, and I was tired of just staying in the house with two old men. My husband today, he was so old, he acted just like his father.
Okay.
And I had to get out. And I went out and I met this doctor. He was awesome, you know, ex-football player.
Okay.
And the way, I mean, the passion that we had the first day. I found myself cheating, running. I was tired every day. I was like, but I would do anything. I would pretend I'm going to my house, this place, that place, anything.
Wow.
And one day I had to like just sit back and say, hey, I went to the guy and I said, I can't do this anymore. He said, oh, how can you do this to me? You let me on. In my mind, I wanted to leave my husband. In my, you know, but then I thought about everything I had. And this guy, he was just somebody that I really wanted to play with in my mind too. But I was so confused, but I stopped it and I walked away and I was finished with it. But it's very hard. And I understand the love thing. But sometimes we have to be strong. We have to think about ourselves as a quality person. I didn't want to be like that, but it was the passion. As you say, this couple, I never seen the show, but you just
right.
This
Cece's
couple
a virgin to Scandal. So.
To feel their passion.
But you are giving us some information, so you're not quiet. Right, there you go.
I actually felt that passion too.
Okay.
And I had to stop. It went on for 2 years, me running. I couldn't wait till my father-in-law came in town. It was like, I would go to all these meetings. I had just invented so many events in my head.
So it's a job to cheat.
It's a job.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to glamorize it, but I'm just saying.
It's a job.
You have to.
And it's very hard, and you just.
So, let me just say this, and I don't want to go too deep, into your relationship. But what made you really cross the line to say, it's I know, even though they say flirting could be cheating or whatever, but to really cross the line to commit adultery?
Well, I was lonely. I've always been lonely.
Okay,
in
lonely.
Relationships.
Okay.
So, men, they get beautiful women and creative business women, and they just want to sit us on the shelf. They don't want to appreciate us, but it seems like everyone outside of our house actually appreciated us more. That's what I thought until times, moved
So it
on.
was something within self that made you realize what you shouldn't do, or something within self, period, that made you go out and cheat. That wasn't necessarily that your husband or whatever was with his dad, he was lonely. You were feeling lonely.
I was feeling lonely.
Inadequate in some way.
Yeah, he was full. He had his father. Him and his father traveled all the time.
Okay.
I felt left out. I'm a city girl, and I couldn't sit in the house and watch two old men talk about the weather all the time and New York and everything else. It was very hard. My whole mind was like constantly, I had to do something. Okay. And I believe it could have been anyone. It didn't just have to be this guy. It could have been anyone that smiled at me that I wanted to.
It's going to give you the attention.
Yeah. But I felt bad because I hurt a lot of people. Okay. And that's where I hurt a lot of people.
Right.
It was so many people that got hurt, and I had to deal with it. I'm still dealing with it, actually, when I see these people. Okay. And my husband, I can't even say the name of these people.
Right, so
did your husband find out, or did you tell him?
Well, he went through our whole email and everything, and I got home one day, and it was sitting out there, so it was crazy.
That's a whole, you have the show Scandal. You haven't watched it, but let me tell you. But let me tell you. Anybody else have any? All right. That's right.
I really don't even want to talk about it.
Okay, right. You do. Come on.
I don't even want to. I'm telling you, girl, I have to keep my distance because it was thick.
Okay.
It was thick, and I don't want to say his name.
You don't know. We're not saying.
No, I'm just saying.
Right.
Even
to yourself.
His name.
Wow.
Wow.
Girl,
What? I'm coming to you, Lori. I'm coming to you, Lori. I'm coming to you. What?
So, I was very successful in my career,
Okay.
and I always seemed to attract, you know, those that I felt like couldn't really give me what I wanted, you know, be fun to play with, but when in the reality you wanted that
Right.
king,
Mhm.
you know, and they weren't the kings, they was the pawns.
Right.
But I practiced on the pawns and relationships to work on being the queen when that king
When it
came.
come, when it
So
come.
I got
Wow.
wrapped up
That's
into
deep.
this relationship off of just being in the same space all the time, you know, in the same space, and it was it was a true connection, like deep connection, and I found myself doing things that I
Would normally do.
Like, I'm a Christian woman, you know, I love God, I have my faith, and I was active in the church, and I just was like way over on the other side of the fence. And we would get together, and it would be, you know, those little short spurts of time, and it just made you thirsty for the next time, because you build up so much excitement and thrill of just having that fun right there, that you just waited. You couldn't wait till the next time to have that fun again, you know. And
Wow.
we would talk. We would seriously talk about how we would cry together about how wrong this is, and we know this is, you know, like in each other's arms, you know, like this can't be. No. We weren't talking about leaving. He wasn't talking about leaving his wife. Right, girl, that's real. That is real. But we weren't talking about him leaving this. It probably went on for a little over a year. And it wasn't like it was all the time. That's what made the time go so fast, or you know, be a lot longer. And then it just got to the point. I mean, he was, you know, I had a house. He was, you know, I was single, and he come over and shovel my snow. You know, he had the blower and stuff. And come and do that. He come and cut my grass.
That's like a
It was just
handyman.
you know, so I had a real house. He come and fix it. So it was like, you know, he was my boo. He was my boo.
Right.
He was my boo, and he was a good man. And so
Do you think it would have been as hot if you guys would have actually been together?
oh yeah.
It would have still been as hot.
Yeah, because it wasn't even like, it wasn't nothing about being unhappy. It was like, you know, hey, if I met you 8 years ago before I got married, it would have been a whole different woman, you know. But I
So
was
wait,
like,
you said
wow.
you said he wasn't unhappy? He was happy but still seeing you?
There had to have been something.
it wasn't like we talked about what was going on at home. You know, it wasn't like he's saying that I'm unhappy and, you know, I'm this and
Yeah,
that.
because see, I don't
wasn't no conversation like that.
necessarily get that when you get with a person and they want to divulge. I'm so unhappy.
Yeah,
I
it was
don't
not like that at
get
all.
that. I don't get that.
No, he owned
divulging.
his own
Oh, I'm
business.
so unhappy.
You know, he owned his own
sharing.
business. Yeah, he had great things going on, and it wasn't that. I mean, it wasn't that we even talked about.
Him being
I don't even know his wife's name.
Right.
You know, I know his kids because I refereed basketball and I saw his kids and I saw him, you know, stuff like that. But as far as him talking to me about being unhappy, it wasn't that. It was just that, it was that connection that was like powerful. And I was, you know, and after a while we really said to ourselves that we cannot, you know, we owe it to ourselves that we cannot do this, you know. And to this day, if I were to call him and need him, he'd be right there. We ended on good terms, very good terms. And I'm telling you, that was kind of like, that probably was my first real love too.
Wow.
You know, seriously, my first real love, where there was no, he wasn't asking for anything. He wasn't making me do, you know, I wasn't pigeonholed into being a certain type of woman. You know, it was nothing like that. So I was still growing, even though I was, you know, recognizing that this wasn't right. And and when we left it, we're, you know, and I left it, and I mean, I
never looked back.
Door.
So once you guys ended it, has it been?
Yeah, it's been.
I mean, of course, you still have your memories and you think about it and all that, but you haven't. Once you guys decided to say,
but the thing is that I am making sure.
You,
Because
that's
we
what,
still have circle
that is
circle
what I
of
was
friends.
going to say.
And
Have
he
you
asked about
taken the
me.
point
Yes,
to say you won't
it's
do it?
closed.
Right, so
Because
you have to
I-
have the strength to
Because I
do
know that
Correct.
that was
Correct.
good for me.
Right.
Right.
And
I
I
have a question
love
here.
Right,
So,
right.
so what do you think, what are your thoughts on marriage?
We're going to
Well,
come back to that.
Well,
we're going
when
to come back to
I
that
saw
too.
him right before I got married, and I told him that I was getting married, and he, you know, we talked, and he was like, "I'm happy for you. You know, that's the one thing I want. You know, I want you to be happy. You know, not with me, you know, but you know, I'm happy for you." And when I got married, I closed. I like
That chapter was closed.
I put the yeah.
My question
Right
is,
down.
when I asked you your thoughts on marriage, was because the intensity and the chemistry that you two had together, do you think that sometimes individuals may marry people who they don't feel
Opposites
that
attract.
Opposites do
Opposites
attract.
attract. Yeah.
Has
Truly.
anybody, has anybody ever, and we'll keep it going because I know you have some, I feel the heat.
nice and short?
It's boiling.
Has anybody then dated anybody or got into a relationship or even married somebody that they weren't in love with? It was just, they were opposite, because that happens. Anybody?
Well, I think that someone being married for 21 years.
Okay, right.
You definitely go through your cycles.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
go through the cycles where you like, oh, I ain't feeling him.
Like
He's
D.L.
not feeling me.
Hughley said, if you haven't thought about killing somebody been married, you haven't been
Right.
married. That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say we've definitely gone through our cycles, but seems like this season of our marriage has just been the best.
Beautiful, isn't it?
I've been there,
Okay,
married, and he's married too.
okay.
And
So both people have something at risk, because sometimes, I don't mean to cut you off, but sometimes it's the one person that has,
The greater
the greater loss,
Right.
while the other person may be single and they don't have that much to lose. Now both people have something to lose in a sense.
Mhm.
Okay.
okay, now I was in a marriage where I was happy but not happy.
When you say not happy, what does that mean?
Cause I grew up around family, like families getting together, going to other people's houses.
Right.
family-
Oh, you from the
family
Midwest, card
reunions.
parties,
Yeah.
barbecues, things
And
like that.
to the movies, Mother's Day,
Right.
Father's Day, family and stuff is all together. So the gentleman that I was married to, he was the type of person, work, sleep, screw.
Right. Feed me.
Right.
Let's skip that part.
And
What attracted you to him, though? Were those the
we-
things that attracted you that you now became to not like?
No, because I
Okay.
was young. I
Okay.
wanted to get out of my mother's house.
Okay, yeah.
Want to be grown,
Right.
and I guess stupid at the same time, falling for love or thinking it was love.
Okay.
But we kind of knew each other through other people. And matter of fact, when I was at my girlfriend's wedding, he was there, and then I had a boyfriend that was there.
Okay.
I'm speaking about my ex.
Okay.
So, and we had kind of met, and it was, and I was like ready to get out of my mother's house, wanted to do my own thing.
So you guys went ahead and just jumped
So
the broom.
we just went ahead. Maybe about a year later.
Okay.
And I
okay.
and I was living with him, and I gave him an ultimatum: hey, we're gonna get married, or I'm out of here. So he didn't want me to leave because I probably was the best thing that ever happened to me. so then when they say about that 7-year itch,
Oh, the 7 years.
it was an itch, but we did make it past 7 years
you
and
guys
maybe
get to
2
8?
months.
Oh.
Barely made it.
So it was bad, yeah.
You sneezed and you was in
Slide right through it. So and I met this guy that hey, wined and dined, and brought me things and all that, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. And sneaking.
Another job, right?
Yeah. And like she said, I mean, it's a job. Trying to keep up and trying to make sure, that you crossing your T's and dotting your I's.
I'm with you, girl. If he call you, I'm over your house. Not that I know anything
about that. So yeah, it was. I was a mess. I was a mess, and I can say I was a mess. But
so did you tell your husband, your then husband? You guys are divorced. Did you tell your then husband? Did he find out, or did you just end it, or?
Well,
that's not the short and sweet part.
So one night, I got the call,
To come out.
Packed my little overnight little cake.
Wow.
She was doing it like that.
You got my cameraman over here.
I ain't trying to brag about it, but it was hot.
Okay.
And it was real, and we knew, we knew what we was doing, and
oh, so he was married too. I just saw that too. So
Wow,
so
right.
he had to do as much sneaking,
Planning and shit.
oh yeah,
as you did.
oh yeah. So and it's so funny. It's funny now.
Right.
It's funny
right.
now, but back then it wasn't funny.
Right.
So we were out, and instead of me not, doing what I was supposed to do,
Got caught up.
got caught up.
Caught up.
But it didn't come to the head until his significant other called. Called.
Because it didn't Star 69 and all that was going on back then. You gotta dial another number after you make a call.
She didn't talk to me.
Oh, she just wanted to know who
She
was on
talked to the husband.
Oh.
She talked to the husband. And he was totally because like I say, he's sleeping, he working, racetrack, whatever.
Okay.
Wasn't paying attention, wasn't keeping up.
Right. Now you taking the overnight bag out the
He was also a hoe.
Oh, so you think he was doing something?
Oh, I knew.
Oh, okay.
I knew.
So both of y'all.
I knew.
So both of you
And
guys.
that's how basically I kind of got started.
Because you knew he was
Because
doing.
I knew. And
I think a lot of
and it
women
was
kind of do
scandal.
that too.
when you come home from work and you see an ashtray on the table with some lipstick.
Oh.
And I know I don't smoke and he don't
He was
smoke.
bringing it to the house.
So therefore, that kind of,
I think a lot of times, and I don't mean to.
if one can do this, I can do this too.
I don't mean to cut you off. No, he probably forgot. She probably left it on purpose, and he forgot to pick it up. She left it on purpose. You come into another woman's house, and you're not gonna forget to pick up your stuff.
Right.
What I want to say is, I didn't mean to cut you off, but with women, sometimes I think, how they say men sometimes will just cheat to cheat. They can have a happy home, woman doing everything. And women sometimes cheat also for inadequacies, but because they feel their spouse is doing it. Revenge. I got to get back.
Right. Just like I said, he can do it and I can do it better.
That's a woman. That's a woman. That's a
But
woman.
it was no slip on my part. It was a slip on the other person's part because he didn't cross his T's and dot his I's.
It was coming to a head
So
anyway, one way.
As we are.
It was going to come to a head.
It wasn't no cell phones. Like nobody had a cell phone.
Star 69, people will star 69. Pages, right. What a minute. Wait, but go ahead, Pat.
No, I was wondering, I wonder, because everybody in here has a story, right? So I'm wondering if this is why this show Scandal is so popular.
Because we
and it
relate.
resonates so well.
Relatable.
Yeah. They can see maybe themselves, or they know of a situation that might have been, and maybe that's why I think the show is so popular.
That's a good analysis.
I think it's because we can all relate.
And so a lot of people didn't know my business because I ain't put it out there. You know, like some people just be scandalous with it. You know, I didn't put it out there. I was an undercover.
But was you scandalous with it?
I was gay.
You had an overnight bag with it. I'm gone. Now that's deep, baby.
Weekend.
That's deep.
She's right about nobody knew. Nobody knew.
For real, and I'm
And this
just
somebody right.
very, very close to
So
her.
I was,
But I in my mind,
I'm bragging, right? I'm bragging.
Innocent.
Right.
Everybody can. You are.
Right.
Because people that thought that she was, you know what I'm saying? That she was innocent and everything.
Very,
and I'm
very.
like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm always looking, I'm nosy.
Right.
You know, so that's my sister, you know what I'm saying? And I never said nothing, but, you know, you could tell. The signs was there. You would have to be
The
blind.
signs were there.
There were
That's the
little
signs.
Like, well, she ain't weird. You going
Something
where?
new because you do something different. You dress different or you change up your
And I love
wardrobe.
the way she dressed.
Right.
She's a sophisticated.
So what if you trapped in, let me ask this, it's sort of the same, but what if you're trapped in a relationship? I mean, truly, if you're just, well, I won't say trapped, but say for instance, you are married, you're unhappily married, but maybe you have a few small children. Because I think a lot of times, I've been divorced before I'm married for a second time. I know in getting a divorce, you just don't think, I thought about getting divorced 5 years before I got a divorce.
Right.
So it went on before, I didn't just wake up one day, oh, I'm going to get a divorce, sign the papers and did that. It took me 5 years to get to that. So I wasn't trapped, so I'm going to change up the word, but I felt an obligation to stay in my marriage because I had kids and I kept saying, okay, when they get out of high school, I didn't make it to high school for my youngest daughter, but when they get out of high school, then I'm gonna do it. You know, so I contemplated getting a divorce, so I just didn't happen right away when I thought about it. So when I say, what if you are in a marriage, an unhappily married person, and you do happen to meet somebody? I know that's still wrong. Has that ever happened? Do you feel it's, because that's almost like Olivia and the president. He's unhappy in his marriage, how it's portrayed.
Right,
and she's, you know what I'm saying? And Nellie knows, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get to that, to Nellie in a few. Because see, I have some issues with the first lady. Myself, not just the president Olivia, but she has her own issue too, if you watch from the earlier on. But being in a relationship where it's just like a horrible relationship, but you may be only there for the kids. And in some marriages, people are sleeping in different bedrooms. Let's just talk about it. Okay? People are in different bedrooms. You know, sometime before they get to the signing on the dotted line. So what you think about it, Ebony? Have you, I know you are younger, sophisticated. We very seasoned in here. We got all the ages going on up here. And that's what I love it, so we can get a perspective. So what's your perspective? Have you been married before yet, Ebony?
No.
Okay.
No. And no. And not that marriage is a bad thing.
Right.
But I'm not sold on it. I'm not certain if that's for me. And then when you guys are like telling your stories, it's like, well, what do you tell your daughter about marriage?
Right.
What do you give her to look up to? Like, should her boyfriend or fiance come and like, hey, this is what it is. I'm gonna have my other chick on the side. And having known that you know, had some infidelity in your marriage, then how do you positively give her advice on, like, you can't tell your daughter, well, that's how it is, but get you one too. Like,
No.
How do you convey marriage in a positive light? Because I'm not.
And the sanctity of it you're talking about.
Yeah, the whole idea of it, because I'm not.
I think the times have changed. I think that marriage is not as
And
sacred.
women have changed. Women
roles have changed.
I don't think none of this is new. There's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
I think now people are getting a little bit more comfortable about what they did in the dark.
To come to life.
I think so.
Right.
I don't know. Do you believe in true love?
Sure.
Love at first sight?
It's possible.
Right.
I think it's possible.
If you're open and you're willing, because like sometimes it can be discouraging, especially living in Phoenix, you know, as a single young woman who
I hear it all over though. I got my girls in Cali, I got my girls in Chicago that say the same thing that they're saying though in Phoenix though.
Is it so a shortage of men? Is all the good ones really taken? What is it?
I think it's not really your time. And when the time comes, you know, I believe that it's not your time. When the time comes, you better be ready.
You better be ready.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we're not ready, and you really, if you're young, you really should thank God. You know what I'm saying? Because of everything that you've heard tonight or everything that we've been through. You know, just really thank God. You know what I'm saying? Because it happened to me very young.
You're not your woman in your 20s. You're different in your 30s, in your 40s. It's such an evolving, and in that relationship, you need to grow with that partner, and sometimes you grow apart. Also, especially when you get married at like a 20, 22, 23, you're going to be somebody else at 30, and hopefully they are there with you.
Okay, and that's to your point. I wanted to touch her point. She said, you know, how have you went through these things and these infidelities, and you're telling your daughter that you should want more.
What would you tell her?
Or how
your daughter or your son?
Or what would you say? I think it's almost kind of like parents who have stole a car when they were 15, who have had an underage drink when they were a little bit younger. You always try to tell your kids that you want them to do better or to be better than you were, or I made this mistake so I can kind of see the road that you're heading down. So hopefully you're just going to pour some positivity into them and speak from experience, and they'll be able to probably grasp and understand that more.
You know, I hear what you're saying, Chanel. That's so true, but unfortunately, our Gen Ys and our millennials, they don't think that way. See, my mother smoked, and she said to me, don't do as I do, do as I say. But this generation, they're not like that. They're watching you. They're watching everything we do. And that's why, I started the sisterhood, because we really got to show young people how it's done. And I'm not saying we're not going to make mistakes, because we're human, right? We will. And sometimes we'll get it wrong. But we still need to hold ourselves accountable for the things that we do. And I hear what she's saying all the time. The kids are like, hey, you can't tell me this because you did this.
Well, I'll give you a prime example. I became a mother right at 19 years old. I did not want that for my daughter just because I became a mother at 19. My daughters, they have both my first daughter had her first child at 30 years old, and then my youngest is 22. So they're not, they didn't do as I did because I wanted to make sure some things, not that I could assure 100%, but just certain things. So it wasn't necessarily do as I did, do as I say. So some of that I still like to bring to the newer generation. We have to bring a little bit to pepper it through. But excuse me, I kind of wanted to get back to the question about just being in an unhappy situation, but then trying to be happy. Because that's usually what you're trying to do. You're in an unhappy situation and you're trying to still find some happiness. And it seems like although he's the president in Scandal, the president Fitz, that he's still trying to find, some happiness or being the president. But on one part of it, he didn't even care about being the president. He was like, I'll give it all up to you. And she did not. She did not.
Right, because really in her heart of hearts, I would think that she knows that nothing good can come out of it. I had a Ty Adams, I don't know if anybody's heard of her, but she had said, she came to our church and she said that, I felt like she was really talking to me.
Don't you always feel like that in church?
That's
she said you will never be happy. She knew she would. I don't believe that writer knows that you will never be happy in that situation. That's what she told. She didn't say it to me personally, but I felt like she was talking to me. You know, because I was talking to a man that was married, and I went to visit her tea, to the tea she had, and she said, I bind that right now. You, whoever is in this room that is thinking about, is with a married man and thinking about this man is going to divorce his wife, and you'll never be happy. And I was like, wow, in my mind. So you know what?
God be putting us in the right spot to hear some stuff, right?
Yeah, it took me a minute to, I mean, maybe about a year or so to say, wait a minute, yep, that is correct. And I don't want to be unhappy my whole life. Right. I've been through some stuff already. So now at 51, it's like, wait a minute, when is my time coming for me to be happy? I'm happy now.
Right, be happy.
No happiness
that 50 club. That 50 club. That's what I'm talking about. You have to be. And I'm gonna ask somebody this, and you don't have to say if you took the person up on it. But has somebody ever come to you, a guy, since we're all women in here, so a guy ever come up to you and say, well, you know, I'm married, but you know, it's, you know, they give you the story already. Yeah, me and my wife, we don't, you know, that's all in the first 2 or 3 sentences. That me and my wife, we don't this, but you told me you married, but you haven't even gave me a chance in hell that you married, because you already explaining why. Right. So has anybody ever experienced meeting people like that? Have you ever taken them then up on it? Because I have known that I have had friends or run to women into my lifetime over several years that have met married men, and they say, oh yeah, because yeah, he's not, that's the same story that you hear. Oh, he's not happy with his wife, or his wife is this, or they do this. And I had to make sure to tell a friend of mine to say, you don't know what they do in their house.
That's right.
You don't know what they do in their house. Thank you.
You just know.
You think that's what you don't. Oh yeah, we know me and my wife don't sleep together, and we this and we that. Okay, that's what his mouth says. Yeah, you can't believe all of that. You know
I'm the
what
type
I'm
of
saying?
person now. This is what, if a man approached me with something like that, this is what I'm telling you. Let me meet her. Let me talk to her. Let us all 3 get together. That's how I do it now. That's how I would do it now. You know, but back in the day, I would for real.
Just put us all on Skype.
Yeah, let's get together.
He said that y'all was not dating.
Yeah, so let's get together, and that's the only way that I would actually even engage in going somewhere with somebody. If it was a man that was married, and he told me we ain't together, we ain't sleeping together, I said, well, if y'all not doing this and that, then okay, let's go over here. We should meet, me and her, and then let her tell me this, and then maybe I can see my way clear to, and no man is gonna ever do that.
Right.
I want him to. I dare him to. You know, that's what I do now. But back in the day, it was real stupid, naive, crazy.
Just to believe because you want to believe. I think as women, we want to believe because factors come into play. Being lonely, you know, you feel that it's a shortage, as we talked about men. So if they say it, we hope it to be true. I think we on that hope factor.
My thing now is I'm alone, but I'm not lonely.
There you go.